in the previous video, now I'm going to talk to you about the nature and properties of matter, grade 9 students, third chapter. You can watch my previous video so you can get a better understanding about this video. So in this lesson, nature and properties of matter, today I'm going to talk to you about atomic structure. So it is very essential for grade 9 students to study this lesson under that the main topic is, as I told, atomic structure. So if you didn't get it correctly to your mind, if you get mixed up and you do not get a better understanding about this lesson, so it's very essential to pay the most attention that you have towards this video. So if you guys are ready, let's go to the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. If you guys are ready, let's go to the video.
Nature and properties of matter. As we all know, matter can be divided into two parts as pure substances and non-pure substances. Hence, pure substances can be classified into two as elements and here compounds. And on the other side, non-pure substances can be classified into two as homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixture. Non-pure substances are also known as mixtures. It means the synonym for non-pure substances is mixtures. So it can be known as pure substance and mixture as well. So you should not mix it up. Matters can be classified into pure substances and non-pure substances or mixtures. Pure substances can be classified into two elements and compounds, and on the other hand, non-pure substances or mixtures can be classified into two as homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. So now let's see what are pure substances. In here, pure substances, matters that contain only one constitution with specific properties are called pure substances. Pure substances are the substances that contain only one constitution with definite properties can be simply known as pure substances. What are the pure substances? Matters that contain only one constitution with specific properties can be known as pure substances. So what is meant by non-pure substances? Matters that contain two or more constitution with specific properties. These are the matters that contain two or more constitutions but with specific properties. So this is the major point that you should get to know about non-pure substance and pure substances. So now we talk about pure substance and non-pure substances, and now we are going to talk about what is elements. The substances which cannot be further divided by chemical or a physical method can be known as elements. It means the elements cannot be further divided by a chemical or a physical method. It means elements is the smallest substance that we can ever divide. It means it cannot be further divided by a chemical or physical method. So as we all know, Copper is an element. It means the copper cannot be further divided. We know that oxygen is not an element. It's a compound. It means oxygen is a combination of two oxygens. It means two oxygen particles. It is a combination. So it cannot be further divided by a physical method. But in here, copper cannot be divided furtherly. And the symbolized form of copper is Cu. You see this in this area. Now we are showing you the symbolized forms. So in here, copper, there's no any this cannot be further divided, and the symbolization form of copper is Cu. And here carbon C, iron Fe. So there's no relationship with Cu in here, and C there's no relationship, but Fe there's no any letter called Fe in the name called iron. So let's talk about how these symbolizations got their letters from without the letters in the English name. Now let's see how the elements got their symbolizations. Okay, as I told, now I'm going to talk to you about the ways that the elements can be symbolized. So the first way that the elements can be symbolized is by using the English name. Mainly the elements can be symbolized by using the English name. So you can see here
carbon. We met this element in the previous slide. Carbon is C. So you can see here C is present in the first letter. You can see in here C is present. You can see it. So by using the first letter of carbon, here the symbolization form appeared as capital C. And here sulfur, here it is S, and here we use the symbolization form as capital S. And here oxygen, capital O, and here capital O. Here nitrogen, N, and you can see here hydrogen, H, boron, B. So the elements that are symbolized by using the English name, here there are only a few. There are more than thousands of elements that we can symbolize by using the English name. Here are only a few. Here the written six are carbon, sulfur, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and boron. So now let's see what is the second method of symbolization forms. Some elements can be symbolized by using two letters. Here you can see a specific word called two letters. It means it may be from the beginning of the word, it may be from the middle of the word, or it may be the ending of the word. However, we have to take only two letters of the English names. Now you can see aluminium. The letter is the symbolized form is Al. You can see here in the aluminium word Al, the spelling is called Al is appeared. So by using the first two letters of this word, symbolized form has been created. So magnesium, Mg, you can see here M and here G. By using the beginning of the word and by using the middle letter, we have formed Mg. It means magnesium. Lithium, here you can see L, here I, lithium. Chlorine, Cl, capital C and simple L. You can see here C and L. And here calcium, capital C and A. You can see here C and A. Some elements are symbolized by using their Latin names. Now we talked about the first method, the second method, and the last method is by using their Latin names. Now we all know copper, sodium, gold, silver, iron. These are the day-to-day words that we used in science. It means copper, sodium, gold, silver, iron. These are the words that we used in science day-to-day. But these are not the scientific words. These are English names. You can see here these are English names. But the Latin names of copper, you can see here English name. I will write it here. You can see here English name, and here you can see Latin name, and here you can see the symbolized form. Here English name, here Latin name, and here symbolized form. You can see here copper. Copper is the English name. In the Latin name, it is cuprum. And you can see here copper, cuprum. By using the first two letters, the symbolized form has been created by taking and capital C and U, and then it's Cu. And here sodium, the Latin name is natrium, and you can see here Na. Gold, aurum, Au. Silver, argentium, Ag. Iron, ferrum, Fe. So you can see here cuprum, natrium, aurum, argentium, and ferrum. You can see here copper, cuprum, Cu, sodium, natrium, Na, gold, aurum, Au, silver, argentium, Ag, iron, ferrum, Fe. So we use Fe for the Latin name ferrum, but we use in the day-to-day life it as iron. So now these are the main three methods of how they get their symbolization forms. Okay, now we are going to talk about building unit of matter. This is the main point that we have to discuss about the nature and the properties of matter lesson. So we have to study this lesson. We have to get a good knowledge about the building unit of matter. From grade 7, we know that the building unit of matter is atom. We know that it from grade 7 or it may be 6. It's atom. So the body building unit of matter is atom. We all know that. And as we all know, atom cannot be observed neither from the microscope or from naked eye. It can be observed through only from electronic microscope. Sometimes it cannot be from either as well. So the other one is this, as we all know, this is a new fact that you should get to know. This atomic structure was invented by the scientist called John Dalton. The scientist known as John Dalton, he was the first to invent that there's a structure called atomic structure, and he was the person who gave this name called atom, and he was the person who introduced this atomic structure. And atomic structure, this word atom is a Greek word, and the meaning of this Greek word is cannot be divided further. It means the meaning of atom is cannot be divided further. I have simplified it, cannot be divided further. So this is its opinion. It means this is the opinion of John Dalton. It means atom cannot be furtherly divided, and atom is cannot be divided further, and that's the opinion of John Dalton. Now let's see, is it true? Is his opinion is true? No, John Dalton's opinion is completely wrong. After passing few more centuries, it means it may be 2-3 centuries. After passing 2-3 centuries from John Dalton's invention, the scientist known as John Dalton introduced the 3 types of subatomic structures. Those are called subatomic structures. He introduced these 3 subatomic structures, and he introduced only one type of this, its electrons. He told that the scientist John Dalton is wrong, but its invention is correct, but his opinion is wrong. Sir John Dalton said that atom cannot be further divided, but the scientist called J.J. Thomson introduced that atom can be further divided into 3 subatomic particles. Those 3 are electrons, protons, and neutrons. So by following the guides and the instruction of John Dalton, and by following his opinion, J.J. Thomson introduced, as I told, electron, protons, and neutrons. So these 3 types are called subatomic structures. If someone asks what are the 3 subatomic structures, you need to tell that electrons, protons, and neutrons. So J.J. Thomson introduced electrons, but he told the names of the other 2 as well, protons and neutrons. He told the people that there are 3 types of subatomic structures, electrons, protons, and neutrons, but he only invented electrons. So after passing a few more centuries from J.J. Thomson's invention, the scientist known as Ernest Rutherford, this name is given in textbook as well, J.J. Thomson and James Chadwick, for your extra knowledge. And Ernest Rutherford, after passing few more centuries from J.J. Thomson's opinion, the scientist called Ernest Rutherford introduced the method of protons. It means the structure of protons. And after passing few more centuries from Ernest Rutherford's opinion or the invention, the scientist called James Chadwick introduced the neutrons. So this is how these 3 scientists introduced their opinion and told his ideas about these 3 subatomic structures. The main point that you should get to know is electrons are positively charged and protons are negatively charged, and James Chadwick neutrons are charged, it is neutralized. You know what is neutralization? Neutralization is when acid is added to a base or base is added to acids, is acidity or basic property totally get disappeared at a certain point is called neutrons. So neutralization. So it means it is not positively charged or it is not negatively charged. That is what is called neutralization. We learned what is neutralization in grade 7 and 8 as well. So now let's see. So not only that, now I previously told you the subatomic structure, subatomic particles. You can see here I told about subatomic structures. You can see here There are three atomic structures. The first one is Plum-Pudding method, planetary model, and modern atomic structures. Plum-Pudding method was introduced by the scientist, as I told. The scientist who introduced about electrons. That scientist was J.J. Thomson. So you can see here it was introduced by J.J. Thomson. And the planetary model was introduced by the scientist who introduced the neutrons. It's Ernest Rutherford. And the modern atomic structure was not invented by the scientist who invented the neutrons. Who is the scientist invented the neutrons? It is James Chadwick. But modern atomic structure was not invented by the scientist called James Chadwick. It's introduced by the scientist called Niels Bohr. Okay, now let's move on. So atomic numbers and mass number. Now we have come to the point. This is the thing that you should get to know, and this is the main point. This is the main thing that you should get to know about this lesson. Now we are going to substitute these atomic and mass numbers. So now as basic of this lesson, basic of these structures, now I'm going to talk to you about atomic numbers. What are the atomic numbers? The numbers of electrons and protons in the nucleus in given atom is called atomic numbers. The number of electrons and protons that are present in a nucleus is given as atomic numbers. And when talking about mass numbers, the number of neutrons and electrons and call its mass number. It means the number of electrons and neutrons and electrons, and here atomic numbers means electrons and protons. I know that this is quite confused, but let's move on and you will get a further understanding about what I taught. So in here you can see I have written Al. What Al stands for? As we all know, this is a symbolized form. Al means aluminium. We know that. So here you can see a number and here a number. It's just like a mathematics. You can see here the upper number. The upper number is a mass number. I told you mass number. What is mass number? And here the down below is atomic number. This is mass number and here atomic number. You can see here aluminium. This is 50 mass number and atomic number is 16. So now we are going to find the number of protons, electrons and neutrons. To find that, I will tell you about how to find these three types of subatomic particles. Protons. You know that 16 is the atomic number. You can see here I have written 16. So 16 is the atomic number. So the always the protons are atomic numbers and the electrons are equal to protons. It means protons are always atomic numbers. Protons are always atomic numbers and electrons are always equal to protons. And neutrons means we need to subtract the mass number and atomic number. It means we need to subtract mass number by atomic number. So if you substitute these, you will get the number of neutrons. So that's how you need to get the neutrons. Protons are always equal to atomic number. Electrons are equal to protons. It means those protons and electrons both are equal to atomic number, and neutrons we can get by substituting mass number and atomic number. It means we need to subtract. You can see here I have to get the neutrons. I have subtract 50 from 16. Then I have get the answer as 34. That's how I need to find neutrons. So now let's see another example. You can see here calcium. Sorry, Ca. Capital C and A stands for calcium. We know that. Here you can see 40 and here you can see 21. So what is the 21? 21 means atomic number. We talked about it. 40 means mass number. So how we should get the number of protons? I told you that always the protons are equal to atomic number. So the atomic number is 21. Here I have written it as 21. I told you that electrons are always equal to protons. As the protons are 21, electrons also should be 21. So to get the number of neutrons, we need to subtract mass number from atomic number. You need to get that always mass number is greater than atomic number. It means mass number has more value than atomic number. So we can easily substitute mass number subtract by atomic number. We can get the number of neutrons. So in this method, 40 subtract by 21, it's 19. So here I have taken neutrons. So that's how we need to find protons, electrons and neutrons. Now you get a better understanding about this video. If you haven't subscribed us yet, click the subscribe button and hit the bell button. So if you are guys ready, we will meet on another video. So don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and we will meet you in the next video.